you too. Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
She said it sound like him. And remember, she didn't answer the phone for him that day. Remember, and I did because he probably feel mad at her for not answering her phone.
All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, me and the brother out here, another live camp. All right, we want to get, first off, we're going to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushua, Baha'u'llah, Kodash.
We want to give double honor to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us His truth and who well. Peace and blessings
Shalom,
to
brother.
the elect. All right, the sincere brothers that's doing His work in truth and sincerity. All right, and to the hopeful elect men, women, and children. All right, we are Hebrew Israelites. We come to teach the truth of the Bible and to tell you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans your true nationality according to the Bible. All right, that you are God's chosen people, right? You are not niggas, you're not spicks, you're not wetbacks, you're not black, which is a color, you're none of that. But you are, your history goes far beyond black history, you know, because it is so-called Black History Month. And a lot of you niggas get prideful around this time because you think that means something. Like, oh, we got Black History Month. Y'all don't even see the blasphemy that's right in front of your face. One, they give you a month for your history, whereas they teach their history all year round. Two, they give you the shortest month out of the year, which is a spit in the face. All right, so you so-called blacks, Latino, Native Americans, y'all are the simplest of the people that walk the earth, and that's why the Most High judges you for your iniquities. That's why the Most High puts y'all through all these straits, judgments. That's why y'all can't never get ahead. Y'all the last hired, first fired. As soon as y'all even around this time it's tax time. All y'all do is y'all get y'all tax money, y'all spend it on bullshit and follow it, man. Y'all never take that bread, y'all don't reinvest it. You don't take that money and fix your life. You don't take that money and do something positive with it. You take that bread and you go spend it. You buy
Shalom, Moses.
Shalom, bro. You go buy a car. Get you $5,000. You go put it down on a fucking brand new Audi, brand new Benz. Get an $800 car note, struggling to make the payments, man. Car insurance go up $300-400. Now you struggling to try to look like you got money, but you really don't, man. But that's the plight of our people. But we come to tell you that there's more to you than just what you were taught here in America. There's a lot more to you. You have a nationality, you have a culture, you have history.
Shalom.
Amongst many other things. Shalom, brother. There's a brother Michael Allah. Shalom to you, my life. You have a history and things that you could be proud of, right? Righteous pride, and something to look forward to. So you have history to be proud of, you have a religion or a culture to abide by, right? To live by, and then you have something to look forward to, which is the kingdom of heaven and what's to come. The promises, the covenants. But a lot of you people are stuck in this limbo of America, smoking, drinking, trying to mask the pain, the struggles that you go through. You know you ain't happy, you're miserable. You go on social media and you post about being happy because you try to prove to the world that you are happy. In reality, you lying to yourself. You lie to yourself so much you start to believe this shit, man.
Good. I'm gonna start here since we're brother talking about our people and the fact that we are set apart, man. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of with great power comes great responsibility, right? So because we are a holy people, which means set apart, we must be different, act different, and walk different. I'm going to start with that. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6, and it says, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth."
Yeah, so we were a holy people, which just means to be separate, set apart. So we were separate from all of the other people on the earth.
We're going to read this and then I'll jump over.
We were a separate people from all the people on the earth. All right, and the Most High chose us not because we were the greatest, and I think it's going to go into it in that, yeah. But you know, we were the ones that the Most High deemed to be worthy to and receive the promises in the covenant. Right, we had the best spirit, if you will, out of all the people that walk the earth. All right, and we're peculiar because we are different. We have a better spirit. We are livelier. We have more talent, more strength. All right, although we were fewer in numbers, but we were that apple that the Most High said, you know what, this people are special.
You said it, a peculiar bunch.
Yep. Mike Allah brought out Isaiah 40:17. All nations before him as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing in vanity. Hey, and then, you know, to be honest, the humbling part about that is that scripture still applies to us, even though we are his chosen people. Most High don't need us.
And we know that because it says two precepts. Our righteousness is as a filthy rags. And then he also equated King David, who was the most beloved, as what? A worm. And if King David is technically the best of all of us.
Thy worm Jacob, yeah.
Thy worm Jacob, right? If King David and obviously Jacob going into the Hebrew Israelites, but if King David was best of us all, and he was basically equating him as a worm, what manner of person are we supposed to be cast as, right? So we got to understand those things. So even though the Lord has no respect for persons, the Lord, like your brother just brought out in Isaiah 40:17, you got to understand something. Because the Lord has set us apart, we are given a lot more authority. But with that authority comes great power, but responsibility that comes with it, right? I'm going to keep reading in Deuteronomy 7:6, verse 8. It says, but because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers. Salakia. I got to read up. I'm in 7. Deuteronomy 7:7. It says, and Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people, like the brother said. Verse 8. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, have Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
Yeah, so the Most High delivered us in a very flamboyant and magnificent manner, which was delivering us from Egypt. But that same second deliverance, or like people like to say the second Exodus, that's going to happen here in America and all of the lands that we were scattered. That the elect are going to be delivered out of, all right, in an even more magnificent manner. All right, Wisdom of Solomon goes into it, but I think it's Jeremiah. I think it's Jeremiah. I can't remember the exact chapter, but Jeremiah goes into how it's no longer going to be. He's no longer going to be called the God that delivered Israel out of the land of Egypt, but
there's that future.
But him that delivered them from the land of the north, and all the lands will be scattered. All right, with great power, Yahweh Shah is going to come back, man. All right, but you, before you can even receive that salvation, all right, if you be of the elect, you would what? You would repent, you so-called Black Latino Native Americans. All right, you would repent from all your wicked ways. You would come out of America. All right, you would stop being sodomites, and you would stop being effeminate. All right, you would stop being wicked. All right, you would start following after the ways of your ancestors before you, as the scriptures say, seek ye the old paths. All right, try to live like how your ancestors lived to the best of your ability. Obviously, we can't do it perfectly because what? We're behind enemy lines. We're in the land of our captivity, but we can at least try to do what we can do best.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, starting in verse 8. It says, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of thy people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Yeah, the Most High divided all the nations. This was, you can go even during the Tower of Babel. Right, the Tower of Babel, prior to that, all people spoke one language. And, I believe it was the Hebrew that everybody spoke. And that Tower of Babel, that's where you get the word Babel from. Babel just means confusion, or to go on.
Confusion.
To ramble and without understanding, and that's what happened. He scattered the people, he separated them, he gave them different cultures, different religions, different languages, and he divided the inheritance of the earth and also what's to come. And he did that centered around the children of Israel, so-called Black Latino Native Americans. So in fact, the world does revolve around you.
It does.
You know?
It does. And to prove it, verse 9, Deuteronomy 32:9, it says, "For Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance." All right? So understanding that Jacob's name was changed to Israel, which symbolizes the 12 tribes of Israel. And remember, it says his people is the Lord's portion. So the Lord has favorites of everything.
Yeah.
The Lord has a favorite bird, a favorite flower, a favorite plant, a favorite people, a favorite place. The Lord has favorites of everything. So don't get it twisted.
Where do you see the problem with you people are? You think that you are above the Most High. You think you're better than Him, even though you might not want to admit it. But here it is that you experience every emotion in the world. You have favorites of this. You have favorites of that. You have things that you like, things that you don't like, things that you love, things that you hate. You have all those things, but you think that the Most High can't. You think that the Most High can only love, He can't hate. You think that the Most High can't have favorites of something.
So you got all these emotions, but he only has one?
He only has one.
Makes no sense. How can you put the Most High in a box?
That's vanity, man.
Vanity. Yep. In verse 10, it says, he found him, and it's talking about Israel. It's talking about Jacob. Jacob is named changed to Israel. So it's talking about our people. It says, he found him in the desert land and in the waste howling wilderness and led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. Now, mind you, if you know any, I'm pretty sure brothers know about the story of Exodus, but that entire narrative was, he told Moses to tell him to what? Let my people go, right? The whole concept was to let my people go. Not let those people go, let my people go. Possessive pronoun, all right? And then if you read the story of Exodus, the Lord led us out of Egypt, right? And then even had a chariot that was above us by day as a beacon, and it was a beacon of light by night, right? That's leading.
I think it said a cloud by day and a fire at night.
Fire by night. I'm just speaking in layman's terms, right? And the chariot, that chariot, what they would call UFOs today, right?
The brother Predestined Preludes, he brought it out, the water, Jeremiah 16:15, the precept I quoted. All right, how the Most High is going to bring us up out of the land of the north and all the lands where He scattered us. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike Allah said, he said, our people stuck on Babylonian customs and traditions. That's why they can't see anything else and think less of themselves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, they stuck in confusion. They think that this way of life is the peak way of life. You know, they say America is what? The melting power. They say America's the greatest country in the earth. America may have its benefits in comparison to some other countries, but
I'll make this even easier for you, brother. Why has America? Matter of fact, every nation that has ever boasted that they were the greatest nation on earth, who did they have in their possession?
The Israelites.
The Israelites, who technically, into today, what you still call blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? But what made America great? What? That free labor, right? The inventions of what? The Israelites. Who made Egypt great? Joseph was what?
Yep, Israelite.
An Israelite, right? And he taught them what? The mysteries, the mysticism, right? How to understand dreams and technology and all that, right? The Greeks, right? Who taught the Greeks? Because mind you, the Greek Empire got all their stuff from what? The Egyptian Empire. Who taught the Egyptians? The Israelites, right? And then who did the Greeks have in their possession? Who did they want to Hellenize and take and consume into? The Israelites, right? You got to go to Persians, the Persian Medes. You can go generation and generation and generation. All the great empires that have ruled the earth all had Israelites either running it or a big part of it. Even in the Dark Ages, talking about the Byzantine empires or the Moorish empires, right? Even though the Moorish empires are known for what? Islam,
but
right?
They were still Israelites.
But they were Israelites who converted to Islam. And why did they convert to Islam? What was going on during that time, right?
The persecution,
the great persecution of Islam. Yep. When Islam was going around, basically saying either lay down or get down. If you don't want to join Islam, we're going to kill you. We're going to sell you into slavery, right? And so far and so on, right? Muhammad himself learned from who? The Israelites down at what? On his merchant runs, down at the merchant ships, right? In commerce, the elders. And he would hear the stories of Yahweh in the backdrop of everything. And he said, damn, I can't be a part of that. No, you can't be a part of it. So what did he do? He created his own thing and then persecuted those who actually what? Who taught him. So understanding that, hey, brother, have a good one, man. Hey,
Yeah,
say God is,
he got the Jesus on the drum.
yeah,
God
yeah.
is
But
good all the time.
the brother got a
Yeah.
beautiful spirit though. He goes to my he used to come to my job, and he also used to also goes to our gym.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I know the brother.
Zealous.
Yeah, very yeah. Judith 5:21, the water, brother. And he wrote.
I think he brought something for it.
Oh, was anything before it? Oh, second. Oh, Judith 5:20. Oh, right. Oh, brother, on point. You got Nahum. All right, let me grab these one by one, brother. The water for the support. Nahum 3:1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city, and it's all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." And who are the prey it's speaking about? The Israelites.
What's that
right?
bloody city? America.
In every city that had their hands on God's precious jewels, what? We're all bloody cities, man.
Yep.
They all did a great. This is why the Lord says that all nations are going to get a portion of that cup.
Yep.
All nations are going to have to. That cup will pass through all nations, right? But Esau going to drink the dredges.
Yeah.
They going to drink the dredges.
Yep.
But that cup of slavery, that cup of judgment, is going to be passed to all nations. Why? Because what they've done to the children of Israel. This is why we're trying to let these so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans understand that you are God's chosen people, and with great power comes great responsibility. You need to adhere to the call, because if you don't adhere to the call, right, you will be caught up in the judgment that's going to happen to these other nations when that cup is passed over. You got to understand that. So this is what we're out here preaching today. It's high time to wake up out of sleep, but our people can't wake up if they don't know who they are, right? Yep. They can't wake up until they know who they are. All right, brother, I'm gonna grab. My bad. I'm gonna need you to do it. Yeah, I'm not.
You're not as
Yes, it's not as sensitive.
you're not as graceful.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Slakia.
Judith 5:20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God before them, and we become a reproach before the world.
So I'm glad the brother brought that precept out, because for you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans who are Israelites, you're probably wondering, whoa, why if we God's greatest people, we His chosen people, why we in the ghettos? Why we poor? Why we paycheck to paycheck? Why we fill up the prison houses? Why we oppressed? Right? Beautiful brother. Why are we oppressed? Why are we in a lower state if we're supposed to be His chosen people? Well, guess what? When the Lord chose us and set us apart, He and led us out of Egypt, if you will. We went into a contract with the Most High. All right. We went to a contract. So mind you, I'm pretty sure brothers and sisters walking around, you either got a lease, or you got a lease doing something, you got a credit card, you got a mortgage, you got a car note. All those are contracts, right? You sign a contract onto all of those, right, to get those things. But there's a clause in every contract. If you break this lease, we'll default on this. If you break this, then we'll hit you for this. If you break this, then your insurance is going to go up, or whatever. So far, so on. There's always a consequence for breaking the contract. Right? So the Lord, Deuteronomy 28:1, we're going to just bring it out since we're on the topic. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1, and it says, and this is the contract that we signed, right? It says, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all His commandments, which I command thee this day, then Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations on the earth." And if you keep reading, it goes into all these blessings that we will receive by what? Following His laws, statutes, and commandments. Following the contract. Per letter.
And that's why. Yeah, and that's why it says that if these people, I won't butcher it. Judith 5:21. It says, "But if there be no iniquity in their nation,
so no breaking of the laws.
Right. Let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world."
Right. So most nations knew the name of Yahweh back in the day.
Because of what? It was really because of David.
The wars.
Yep.
I was going to say the wars. Yep. It was because of David, because David was the war king. Mm-hmm. If people want to be realistic, David was a war king. So you read the book of Numbers, when the Lord raised up the armies and everything like that. You know, King Saul was the one who went on witch hunts, going around cleaning up all the witches and those who were into divinations and Witchcraft.
It was kind of like
Yeah.
it was kind of like when the Most High delivered us out of Egypt. That was like the first, like, his name was starting to. He
Yeah.
started to get a little bit of buzz. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, who that? Oh, you
But-
show
but
you ever have in Egypt?
But it makes
But
sense.
then, yeah, and then
It makes sense why he had Saul going over killing the witches first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why. It makes sense because those who are most people that are witches or warlocks, they worship many entities, many gods, right? They are
yeah, I know you're talking about.
polytheistic, however you say it. They worship many gods, right? Where the Lord, our power says, "I am your God. Only worship me," right? Right? There's no other power besides me. You got to understand something. All over the earth, people were sacrificing to many gods and idols, and that was the norm. So the Lord was like, "All right, what I need y'all to do is, I need you to go around and cleaning up this land. First, get rid of the gods of the land." And it makes sense. Get rid of the gods, the customs, the way they think. Get rid of all that first. All the witches, because mind you, witchcraft is real. That's just control. That's just using spiritual power on the left-hand side. It is real. Voodoo is real. All of that is real. Sacrificing and all that is real. Think about it. We used to sacrifice with oxen and bulls, sheep and birds and stuff to the Lord for our sins, right? Because that was the law of sacrifice. But when Yahushua came on the scene, the law of sacrifice was done away with, right? So you got to understand something. All that stuff was real. So what the Lord did, he sent King Saul around cleaning it up. Then after he fell from grace, he raised up David. But when he raised up David, he basically appointed David to be the righteous war king. All right, now go clean up the lands. Purge it of these people. These people ain't going to get right. Don't mix with none of them. Kill everything. Man, woman, child, oxen, everything. Everything, get rid of it all. Why? Because of the remnants of their teachings. The Lord knew that stuff. Because remember, they was eating manners of blood. You understand some same practices they kind of have in Africa now where they be drinking blood and all that? That's dumbed down versions compared to what they used to do back in the day. The Lord had them going around cleaning it up, right? So, King David was basically the war king, and this is how we got into these covenants.
That's how we got our lands too.
That's how we got our lands.
King
Yep.
David.
Mm-hmm. So the Lord's basically saying, look, if you follow my contract the way I tell you today, then I will set you above all nations. You will be literally the best of the best. So you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans wondering why we at the bottom of the totem pole? It's because we transgressed the Lord. We broke the covenant. So it was only befitting that we fell to the bottom. For our power and entity said, look, I'm choosing you not because you're the greatest, not because you're the largest nation, not because of all those things. I'm choosing you because of basically a treaty I had with your forefathers, and I'm not a man alive, but also because you had the most upright spirit, right? So then we go into this contract cheerfully. We like, and at first it was peaches and cream, right? But what happened? What is the problem with the so-called black man, Latino man, and Native American man?
He's stubborn.
We are stubborn.
Impatient.
Exactly, impatient.
Yep.
We want what we want when we want.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification, right? We're hard-headed, right? Can't really tell us nothing. You ever see so-called two black men arguing? They might not even about to be getting into a fight, but you ever notice how they're just loud and obnoxious and they're going back and forth? They both even might be right, but never can come to a conclusion of who right, who wrong.
They stuck in their own way, their own head.
It's the same thing. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Our people are the same way.
Not willing to reason or consider.
Exactly.
That's how, as it says in Isaiah 1, it says, "My people do not consider."
Yep.
All right. They don't consider who they are. They don't consider anything other than what they know, what they were taught. Even if they haven't studied what they were taught. This is the difference between us and you people in the world, is that we were taught this doctrine, but we also studied this doctrine.
Yep.
So we proved this through the Holy Spirit. All right, it was given by the Heavenly Father for all you people that want to try to see it.
But prove what science follows.
Exactly. So we were taught this doctrine, right? Ultimately by the way of the Holy Spirit, by men who were seasoned. And then not only did they teach us, but we studied it and proofed it and made sure that we were fully persuaded in our own mind, as the scriptures say.
Yeah.
You people were raised in the church, or your grandmama taught you this, and you never even opened the book for yourself. They just told you what it was.
Or even questioned the narrative.
Or questioned. Because that's the thing. A wise man questions
everything.
Even men in the truth, when you have elders, they'll give you something And you might not buck up, but you will still question and you will examine, because that's what a wise man does.
They actually
We don't follow men blindly.
They actually encourage it.
Exactly.
The elders that we were taught from used to tell us straight like this: "Hey, don't take my word for it. Go look up yourself, and be persuaded in your own mind, and then come back to me and see if you want to get down."
Yep.
That's how it was taught to us.
That's how you know this thing is not a cult.
It's not.
It's contrary.
People
to
like,
what
oh, it's a
people
cult.
like to
Like,
say.
what are you talking?
It's not a cult, because we're not out here trying to. Now, maybe some camps out there might move cultish,
like
IUIS.
comfy.
Yeah.
The reason why I say comfy, because he called himself the comforter, and then people started calling him comfy. That's what. That's a cult. Hey, that's against the doctrine. It's against the Bible. We ain't with all that.
Yep.
Bro, you're not the comforter. The comforter was the scriptures, right? The Lord sent the Holy Spirit, which is the comforter, bro, so we can be able to navigate these times.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start talking about, oh, I'm the comforter, nah, all right, and then people start following after that, well, you're leading the flock astray.
And then you're trying to persuade people. Like, we're
Exactly.
not. Although the scripture we persuade men, we don't persuade in the modern term that you know it. We don't say, we're not trying to convince you of anything.
Yeah.
We'll teach the word, and if you don't want to get it,
Plant the seed.
we'll plant the seed. It's the Most High. We don't want you to join our ranks.
No, we do. No, we don't. Yeah, we don't care for you to join our ranks, but we will persuade you with fear of the Most High. So we'll tell you the stories of King David and how he was going around basically cleansing cleansing the lands, right? If you will. I don't want to use the G word on here and it get flagged, but he was out doing his thing, right? We're not out here to tell you people to do what he did, to be violent, because we are non-violent.
Violent people.
We are non-violent. We are wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We are non-violent. We're not hurting the fly.
You ever seen a dove attack a person?
And if a dove attack you, you must have been doing something.
You must have been harming it, and it's defending itself.
Exactly.
All right?
Doves,
And that's rare.
exactly. So this is Deuteronomy 28 and 15. This is us breaking that contract. So understand that everything was contractual, right? We had a contract with the Most High, all right? So Deuteronomy 28 and 15, it says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So remember, with great power comes great responsibility, right? A lot of people love the beginning of contracts. Like, you might go to a car dealership, right? And it's that car that you really want. And they might tell you, yeah, you approved.
You approve.
You
Zero
approved.
down.
But guess what? They give you the clause. A. Right? You approved. But in the clause, it'll say, you got to get the warranty, you got to get this, you got to get that. Your car note might be damn near $800 a month. But you're just so happy to get the car that you ain't read the fine print.
The car was 20 grand, but at
But
the end of
your loan,
everything,
you paid 40.
you paid 40.
Exactly. Right? It's the same thing with the Lord. When we went into this contract, right? Because remember, the Lord presented the contract to the children of Israel, right? Or at Mount Sinai, right? The Lord presented the contract, and we cheerfully said, yes, you'll be our God, and we'll be your people. The Lord, in the clause, and this is what I just read.
Because Deuteronomy 28 starts with the blessings.
It starts with the blessings.
It starts with all the good.
You're trying to tell me we're going to be the best at everything? Oh, yeah, let's
So
do it.
you get sold on that. I'm sold.
Sold. I'm
but
good.
then you go down. All right, okay.
Okay.
But if you don't,
you don't
yeah,
listen.
all right. What do I sign?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, all right, cool.
And they thought it was sweet. Our forefathers thought it was sweet. So what did they do? They broke the covenant. They started worshiping. They started whoring after other gods. They started picking up the customs of foreign people.
They started to willfully sin and prepare sacrifices for it.
So the Lord was like, "Oh, okay, you thought it was sweet. You thought it was sweet. Well, guess what? All these modules, and if you read, it was fun. This is how you know the Lord was not playing with this contract. Because if you read Deuteronomy 28 and 1, it's only a couple of blessings you can read through. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, here's your
blessings. Are simple.
The blessings are simple. I'll
Listen,
give you everything.
I'll give you everything.
But then when he said, all right, but in the clause, when you break this
He
contract,
said, I'm going into specifics.
then he went into specifics on literally how he was going to destroy us. So when we went, and mind you, how did we sign this contract? We signed it in the blood. If you read, we built altars, we sacrificed, was it oxen or bull? But Salaki, if I got the animals wrong, but I know it was like oxen or something like that.
Usually like a lamb, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
first
it
year,
was like
unblemished.
Unblemished, yeah. So we sacrificed, so we went into a blood contract. Signed it in blood, put it in blood. And then literally, I guess, I don't know how many years later we started going off. You know,
we was going off in the wilderness.
it was going. Yeah,
That's the reason
but
why.
Remember when they made the golden calf or whatever?
That was like during the process.
Yeah, Moses came down and killed a third of the people. It was a third. Yeah, he killed a third of the people. He took some men and killed a third of the people. So that's beautiful. How in the beginning he killed a third, and then
two-thirds was delivered.
2/3 was delivered
And
when the
then
first
now-
third fell, and then now we at the end. Now
2/3
2/3 got to go, and only a third is going to be saved. If that's not righteous,
Yeah.
if that's not righteous,
That's why the whole process of the Exodus was 40 years, bro.
Yep.
It only took 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
To go from Egypt to the land of Canaan.
The Lord had them running in circles.
But the Lord said, "Yo, you wicked generation, y'all not gonna see the kingdom. I'm
Yep,
gonna wait
so-
till all y'all die off,
Yep.
and the young generation coming up, they gonna see the Joshua's generation.
Yep.
They gonna see the kingdom.
Yep. So you got to understand something. The Lord is righteous and just in all that he does and all that he wills. But you got to understand something. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the reason why we are in the plight that we're in is our fault. Now, did the nations go too far? Yes. But they're going to get their judgment for that. The Lord, and we can get into that a little bit. The Lord already spoke about the cup that's going to pass through. And actually, I'll get that precept in a little bit. But
Because but I mean, a justified slavery would be like, we got our own land and we got our own thing, and you come and say, "Yo, listen, I got the military and the army to overtake y'all and kill y'all all right now, but I don't want to do that. I want y'all to be a state under my empire.
Yep.
You pay me tribute, you do this, and in return I give you this, but y'all got to follow my rules and everything."
in which we did multiple times. So
that was righteous.
I know they say we only been in slavery.
Right.
Technically, the Israelites only been in slavery 7 times. But if you want to add when we were basically tribute to other nations, you want to add that, it's been almost double, because the Persians, the Persian Medes, almost every empire after we fell, right? The Lord ain't just straight throw us into that deep dark slavery. He was like testing slaveries with us.
The time of the Greeks was like the beginning of
The beginning of the great fall.
the great fall.
The great fall.
You know what I mean? Or as Yahweh Shah said, "Lest there be a falling away."
Yep.
During the time of the Greeks was the beginning of that, and then after Yahweh Shah fell, the
Roman Empire.
the Roman Empire. Then Jake started to take over the Roman Empire. Again.
So we remember
When we were
the Maccabean Wars. We got our independence back. So remember, they released Jerusalem from us.
Right.
So we got our independence back from the Greeks, or whatever. Where we started being able to worship our God the way we used to. Because every nation that had us as tribute used to allow us to worship our gods. The Greeks
during Antiochus, he tried to stop that. But the Maccabean War was the fight against that. That's why you still had the sect of the Jews in the land that were doing their own thing. But then you still had those Israelites that converted. They were still doing the customs of the Greeks.
And that's where you get Paul's writings from, going into neither no Greek nor Jew. But that's another topic.
Yeah. But then you had Rome. Then the Roman Empire came and conquered
which they were
the Greeks.
speaking Latin. By the way. Because they weren't speaking English, guys. They were speaking Latin. Because I've actually had somebody say, "Oh, the Bible ain't true. Why is it written in 3 different languages?" Bro, you got to know the history.
You got to know the history. That's why you Christians don't understand
No.
neither Jew nor Greek and Gentile and John 3:16. Y'all don't understand it because y'all don't know the history.
Exactly.
Simple.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, hey, the Most High went into those curses, and we went into tribute and slavery. But after the Roman Empire, where the Israelites completely disassembled from their nation, their nationality, as the Lord said He would. Fast forward to America.
That was 70 AD.
70 AD.
The great
fall
slaughter,
of
the fall of Jerusalem. 70 AD, the great Roman persecution, which was prophecy that it would happen, and we would flee into the mountains. Where's the mountains from Jerusalem?
Africa. Yep.
And there you go, migration pattern right there. Boom. Like people, simple history too.
Majority of us went to South Africa, but a lot of us went,
Yeah, South Africa, West Africa, and then remember
East Africa. You got Israelites over in East Africa, like a lot of Ethiopians.
Yeah, and also there was Israelites that stayed in the land that were persecuted or got caught up, right? And this is where they a lot of them, what you would call Palestinians now. Yes. See this? There's if you go back and look up the history, a lot of Palestinians, not all, but a lot of Palestinians are actually Israelites. They converted to Islam during the great Islamic Crusades and all that.
You got people that fled over into like Ireland and shit, man.
But our people are already there. So this is why we got to get into history.
Yeah.
Like if you learn anything about the Dark Ages, what they would call the Dark Ages. Yo, all that Knights of Templar, all the different. If you go over in
The Vikings.
the Dutch, the Vikings. Look, they call them. Look up Black Vikings right now. The original Vikings were of dark skin, right? Everything you see is nothing new under the sun. It was more than likely created from us and then whitewashed later on.
Yeah.
So they'll like to tell you, like Utrecht, son of Utrecht of Bevenberg,
Yeah.
right? The Vikings and all that. No, who ruled over all of Europe in the Dark Ages? Who pulled them out of the clefts of the rocks? Who taught them how to bathe? Who taught them the arts, music, architecture, sciences? We did, right? The Byzantine empires, right? Who were the ones who ruled all over Spain, right? You can go right now to different places in Lithuania, Germany, and everything, and they still have our statues of black face, so-called black. I'm just want to say black. So black faces with the pink lips, and they got the Knights of Templar and all that. And this is where Russian icons. When you look up Russia icons, right? The original Russians. Putin himself said the original Russians were black. Putin himself said it, and he's all about his culture and his roots, right? So these are the things that our brother need to know, because how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you come from? If you don't know the great feats that your people had, if you don't know that you come from a legendary bloodline, that you are and your people are the former of all things, man. All right.
Chikamato said the original samurai, ninjas, and shonen monks were black as well.
Yeah, they were. Mm-hmm. First of all, think about that kind of athletic ability that they show you. Where do you think it came from?
Plus, you also remember Moab and Ammon were melanated.
We're all
Even though
melanated.
they're still,
because
for the most part, melanated.
Their forefather was an Israelite, right?
And they were all amongst that same region and land.
Well, he wasn't an Israelite because
He wasn't an Israelite,
but he was from the bloodline of the Israelites.
He was still the best original, like
He was remember
family.
He was Abram's nephew.
Yeah.
So he was from that direct bloodline, but then it branched off. He branched off and started his own thing, which is Moab and Ammon. Let's get into the history, man.
Which was children of incest.
Yep.
Or was what you call bastard children. A lot of you would try to say, or today, in Old English, Tom, they'll say a bastard child is a child born out of wedlock, which is not true, because there's no such thing. Now, granted, all right, that's only true if a child is born to a married woman. That's a bastard child. A bastard child is also an incest child. But there's no such thing as if I have a wife and I have a child with a handmaid or a concubine. That's not a bastard child. That is my full-fledged.
No, that's your child.
It's a full-fledged son. It's not a bastard son.
The way they make bastards if it's not from your
It's not from the royal line
from your wife
of your wife.
of your wife. So like basically, let's say my first wife. Matter of fact,
But I say that because you have there's an Israelite teaching out there. It's amongst the the TikTok
or the black they like black
only Israelites. They'll try to say that they'll use the scripture where it says a bastard shall not see the kingdom or inherit the kingdom, and they'll say, "Oh, see, if that's not your wife, you can't. You are mixed. You're not an Israelite, or you can't have. You know what I mean?
So then Jacob had how many wives?
So then King David shouldn't see the kingdom.
Exactly, because King David.
Jacob, none of the 12 tribes of Israel should see the kingdom.
Yep. Exactly.
David's grandmother was a Moabite.
Was a Moabite. Yep. David's grandmother was a Moabite.
So it means his father was so-called mixed, as you would say. So therefore, he would be so-called
and that's why they called him ruddy. King David was a little lighter. Now I didn't say he was in brown skin. He was ruddy, reddish brown. He was a little lighter. I'm not saying he was light as us. I'm not saying that either. But he was. He might be like Kev. Like come on.
You should see. No, he's probably like my daughter.
Oh yeah,
my new baby.
Yeah.
She's like
nice.
She's like a light brown. It's like she has a very unique complexion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's ruddy.
She's ruddy.
She's ruddy. She's
like,
darker than me.
When I get a tan in the summer, I'm ruddy. I get like a reddish brown color.
Yep.
Like you can see like a tint,
like amberish.
Exactly. Yeah. But it makes sense because his grandmother was a Moabite. You know what I'm saying? So just understanding where you, how can you know where you're going if you don't know where you come from? You don't know your bloodline. You don't know your family tree. You don't know why the Lord did anything He did. Yep. You sit here still clueless. But the Lord says, "My people are destroyed for what? A lack of knowledge."
You think that just you coming back to you say Jesus, and your walk with Jesus is all that matters. Where that's 70% of the battle.
No, but even if you say my walk with Jesus is all that matters, okay, with Jesus himself, if you want to call him Jesus, told you to what? To seek truth. He says the truth.
Eat the whole road.
Eat the whole road. The truth shall set you free.
I come in the volume of the book. So
what does that mean? You gotta go study the book.
You gotta study the whole book. Mm-hmm. And if you study the whole book, you'll realize, oh shit, I'm an Israelite. Mm-hmm. This is my history. Yep. That matters. Mm-hmm.
You'll even find out who your enemies are. Because one thing I learned, now you Northern Kingdom, you so-called Latinos, finding out who your enemy is. Y'all finding out real fast. Because y'all was racist against your own people for so long. Y'all didn't care about the black and brown races. Right? Even in your culturals, right? Now, mind you, we're from Northern Kingdom as well, but we speaking directly because we know the truth.
Even oppress your own...
You oppress your own people
because of their darker...
Because of darker
complexion. And they're more Afro features.
There's a lot of Latinos right now that call themselves white Latino. They don't call themselves... They be like, oh, I'm white Latino. Like, they'll put on there, like, when they file for applications and shit, they'll put white or white Latino, right? That's the actual thing. Now what's going on? Now all of them like, oh shit. Remember Latinos for Trump?
Isn't there like a difference between the term Latino and Hispanic?
Yeah. So Latino means you were enslaved by the Romans or the Italians, Latin, and then Hispanic you were enslaved by the Spaniards. Yeah. That's why it's one or the other. There's one or the other. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference if people wanted to know. So, I'm Latino. All right, so you were enslaved by either the Roman Empire or Latin, right? Or a Hispanic, you were enslaved by the Spaniards. You know, that's all it means, right? That's literally all it means.
So basically, because you know how you have like, you know how you have like in South America you have Portuguese, Spanish.
So Portugal. So Brazilians, more than likely, Asher.
Portuguese.
They speak Portuguese because they're slave owner.
So would that be...
Now, mind you, the Portuguese slave trade was one of the largest slave trades, right? Now...
So basically, would you say that Latinos would be... or Brazilians would be more Latinos? And like Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, they'd be more Hispanic? Because, you know, you got...
I'm going to...
Because you know Spanish and Portuguese are similar, but they're also similar to Latin a little bit.
So you also got to remember the Roman Catholic Church.
Right.
They were speaking in Latin. The Roman Catholic Church is so... It's been around. It all depends, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. But the reason why I brought that up is because a lot of the so-called Latinos, right, they're seeing... Like they wanted to call themselves white Latinos and pro-white and basically shun their own people because they wanted to join hands with Esau, right? And then they got a rude awakening, woke up after the election, and who they voted for basically said, no, you still a nigga. You still an Israelite. Whether you like it or not, we know who you are. Deport them. Go get them. They were running into, I told you my man Rico. Rico, he's Puerto Rican, so-called Puerto Rican, right? He owns a restaurant. They ran into his restaurant, asking him for his paper. He was born in America. Asking for his papers, so we need to go to your kitchen. Who you got working in your kitchen? And he felt offended. And I'm like, you offended because you always put on like you were white instead of being an Israelite. And now you seeing that they see you for who you are. See, the thing about learning who you are as a people, you also going to find out who your enemies are. And how can you sit here and defend yourself if you don't know who's coming to kill you? Right? Now they're getting a strong dose of, oh shit, we really not as good as the Edomites. We not with them. They don't want us. You out here just because we closer in color. They've been their abuelas, their grandmothers. They're telling them there's a saying in the Latin culture about basically cleansing the bloodline, right? There's a saying about cleansing the bloodline. Basically, they'll tell you don't marry black or brown. Oh, why don't marry morenos or moyos. Don't do none of that. Don't marry a white guy. Marry somebody light skinned. Don't marry somebody that's dark. And this is something that they've been doing. Now it's coming back to bite them in the ass. But it's cool. It's all the Lord's will. It's all the Lord's will because I'm not gonna lie, the Latino community needs to be put on their ass a little bit, man. They're very prideful. They're very prideful. They're racist in their own way. They believe there's actually they believe that they're better than everybody. They even believe that they're better than other people of their own nation, right? They're quick to join hands with the enemy, right, against their own brethren. And even in the Bible, when Joseph and when Israel and Judah splintered, right? Who's the head tribe of the Northern Kingdom? The so-called Puerto Ricans, the Ephraimites, right? There was actually a video that I seen. It was like all the other Latinos getting deported, and there's a meme of all the Puerto Ricans standing on or like in a castle, looking down like peasants, and it was funny because that's really how they act. But it wasn't funny because like, yo, you need to be that impression too. But guess what?
It's funny too when you think about it. Like we talked about last time we can. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory,
Yep.
and it's kind of a state, but it's not. Like
U.S.
I said,
territory, and they're treated like shit.
right? It's like a state without all the benefits of being a state.
Yep.
And like you said, Ephraim will feel like, oh, nigga, I'm American. No, I'm better than y'all Dominicans and Haitians and y'all third world. No, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm American.
And
But
literally,
you don't have none of the benefits.
But guess what? But the so-called white man, your enemy, know who you are. Why do you think he made you a territory, but didn't give you sovereignty? Didn't make you at the 51st state, right? Overexploits everything in your country, but gives you nothing. But you think you better than everybody for what? That's pride, man. Pride goes before a fall. And the thing about it is, the Latino and Hispanic community, the Northern Kingdom, needed to be humble before the end. The Lord is going to humble them, and those who wake up are from the ashes of the Lord humbling. Those are going to be part of that number, man. Because trust me, I do believe there's a great number of the elect in the Northern Kingdom. Because you got to think the Northern Kingdom is many countries built into one. You got to think you got from Ephraim all the way down to Issachar, right? Look at the Issacharites. You know how racist a lot of Issacharites are towards black people? Look in LA. There was race riots and race wars in LA literally like a couple of years ago. Don't come down this neighborhood. Now they looking up, yo, so-called blacks, why y'all not helping us? Why y'all not protesting with us? Didn't y'all just tell us we was nothing but monkeys and shit? The other day, we was here for you when you needed us. But you ain't want our help. Now you need our help. Now you want our help. You got to also understand something. But this is the Lord humbling, man. The Lord says, I'm going to start at my house first. So for you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, understand that the Lord, when great judgment comes, the Lord is going to start at his house first. So our people are going to feel it, man. So you Latinos or Hispanics, whatever you want to call yourself, y'all gonna get fucked up. Excuse my language. But the Lord is going to bring judgment upon you. All y'all don't want to come into the fold. They want to call yourselves Catholics, idol worshiping all these other idols. We call yourself Christians and Pentecostal and all these other things, and never want to just adhere to the teachings of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The Lord is going to have a great punishment for you, because most of the people that are waking up to this truth are from the Native American and so-called black communities. I don't see a lot of Latinos waking up to this truth. Now there are a lot that have woken up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, but you don't see it in mass numbers like you've been seeing it in the so-called Negroid community. Now, mind you, Puerto Ricans are Negroids, Brazilians are Negroids. All Negroids are sick. Trust me, you're all from the same bloodline, whether you like it or not. You are. All right? But you don't see a lot of them waking up to this. So the Lord going to have to humble them. The Lord going to humble them, and He's going to pour His Spirit out. The Lord is going to pour His Spirit out on all flesh, but especially you, Northern Kingdom. Y'all getting the Spirit poured out on you now. The Lord is basically humbling you. Y'all thought y'all was high and mighty. Y'all look down on your brothers and sisters. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to show you where you exactly where they at.
That'll be a great sign of the end too, when you start to see an influx of a lot of like the Northern Kingdom, like Puerto Ricans.
You see a lot of it in New York, though. A lot of them in New York are waking up, and it was crazy. A lot of it has to do with the IUIC camp. I see a lot of Spanish, so-called Spanish brothers and sisters waking up in IUIC camp. Also in Sakari, in New York, they got that main camp. I think that the one brother, so-called Dominican, the one brother, Puerto Rican, and I think two of their main speakers. And he'll sit there and break the whole thing down, right? So you see a lot of our people waking up.
LA has a whole Spanish camp, a whole camp that based around speaking Spanish.
Yep, they do. And Miss Lita for Christ, She said she's a Christian. Okay, what kind of Christian? What's my question to you? What kind of Christian? Do you follow the book the way it is, or do you follow the way some false preacher taught you? Because if you're not following it the way Christ meant it to be taught, if you ain't following it that way, then you're lost.
You say you're a Christian, but
What kind of Christian?
to be a Christian means to be a follower of who you call Christ.
What the follower of
But
Christ?
and what that means is to walk in His ways. But what did He do?
What did he do? How did he
was
move?
How did He move? What did He follow?
So the 12 tribes chart is interesting to say the least. Yeah, we know. Well, the 12 tribes chart, right? I would say this. The 12 tribes chart is not 100% accurate. What I mean by that is because all those people that are written on there are not all of that bloodline. Because there are Puerto Ricans that are Spaniards. There's Brazilians who actually are from Portuguese bloodline. There are Dominicans who are actually from the Spaniard bloodline. There are so-called black people in America that we call them chocolate Edomites. They might look black, but they're from a different bloodline. This is why the scriptures, matter of fact, we'll get it.
As well as
Separate the wheat from the tares.
As well as too, like a lot of so-called blacks in America that call themselves black might think that they're
Judah,
but
they're
Judah,
more-
but they may be Native American.
They could be Native American. They could be Reuben, Gad. You know, they could
Seminole
be
Indian.
Seminole Indian. They could be what? A lot of them are different tribes because if you go into the history, a lot of they classified the Native Americans as Negroes at one point because they wanted to get away from that Native American class. They wanted to get from the Indian class. They put them all into the same category. A lot of the slaves here that were enslaved. Not everybody came over on a boat. I want to make that very clear. There was some of y'all already here. We came over on boats originally, right? But we didn't come over on a slave ship. Your people were already here. You know, got to understand that. Like the so-called Puerto Ricans, right? They were already here. Why? Because they already knew how to get over to this land. King Solomon used to send us to a land called Ashtaroth, which AKA is now America. To what? To mine for what? Silver, gold, precious metals, furs, lumber. Foreign animals, right? This is wealth over here. This is where you get these stories. El Salvador, cities of gold. And you had all these stories of gold and riches being on this side. Why did Christopher Columbus, who was an Italian man, why did he know to come over to this land? Because that was a point in time where they believed that you would fall off to the edge of the earth. There was nothing over here. He went to the English king and said, yo, there's land over there. The English king thought he was stupid. No, there isn't. There's nothing over there. He said, look, I will claim it in your name if you give me a few ships, some Hebrew interpreters, and some goods. I'll claim it in your name. Why did he ask for Hebrew interpreters on his boats? How did he even know how to get over here? He picked up the Bible. He read the original Bible with the Apocrypha, and it shows how the Israelites would come over here getting stuff. So he knew there was far lands.
And then y'all people, and then you people still don't. I still accept the shit that's taught in your school's history that they're teaching to your children that Christopher Columbus discovered America. But how could he have discovered a land that there were already people here? They already had societies and civilizations. But they try to teach you that, oh, he came here and they were savages and beasts.
They came over here and found cities. When I say cities, I'm talking about a lot of the cities you see, like San Francisco.
You got pyramids in Mexico.
They found over, 200 pyramids in America. 200 pyramids and mountains in America. Why do you think in the Grand Canyon, you're not allowed to walk the Grand Canyon or explore the Grand Canyon? You gotta just do some normal, simple.
Why haven't they never developed the Grand Canyon?
Yep. Oh, why all that land is just can't touch. You can look. You can go to the Grand Canyon, look at the top. They might have a trail to trail down, and then have a trail coming right back up. But you're not allowed to explore the Grand Canyon. Why is that? Why is that? See, see, a critical thinker, right? Because the Lord compels us to be critical thinkers, right? Will go and ask these questions. Go think for themselves.
But you people were so indoctrinated that any type of critical thinking or a thought against what is the standard norm you call it a conspiracy theory, or you think, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, because you people are indoctrinated, man. Y'all have no minds for yourself. You just listen to whatever Daddy Esau tells you, whatever the media tells you to believe. That's what you go by. But then when somebody who has a sharp mind says, hold up, that don't make sense. Let's think of it like this. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you think the government? Come on, man. You people are exactly what they want you to be.
Exactly.
Sheep. Soft.
And like how a lot of our people don't understand that this is a bloodline. This is a bloodline. So a lot of the people on that 12 tribe chart, just because they might call themselves after those names, does not mean they are a part of that nation. This is why the Lord is going to send his angels to the four corners of the earth to gather his elect from all nations on the face of the earth. Why? Because our people have been scattered to the four corners of the earth. When? The diaspora. The diaspora is not just the slave trade coming here. We were sold to the four corners of the earth. If you know anything about the Arab slave trade, some say the Arab slave trade was harsher than the chattel slavery in America. Some say. They say it was more because they were castrating us. They were selling 2 of our women to every one Arab man. They called us dogs. We couldn't eat it. Yo, listen, if I went in through the hadith and showed you all that stuff, you would look at Islam and go, what? Exactly. All false, right? But for you, Miss Letty, Miss Lita, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I'm going to show you the wheat from the tares. Now, this is proof that our people will be scattered to the four corners of the earth, and that we will look like different nations. We'll be speaking in different tongues. This does not mean that God is going to gather people from all nations. No. He's going to gather his people out of these nations. Because think about it. We're speaking English now. Why? Because my people were enslaved in where? America. And the language that they speak here is what? English. Just like Puerto Ricans speak Spanish. Why? Because their people were enslaved by what? The Spaniard. Why Haitians speak Creole or a form of French? Because their people were enslaved by who? The French. Why Brazilians speak Portuguese? Because what? Their people were enslaved by the Portuguese. This is how they all are the same people but speak in different languages. You see what I'm saying? So right here.
Even hold on, grab something. But look, let me grab this real quick because I know you're about to go into it. But just how I quoted earlier, and the brother grabbed it. I'm gonna just bring it up. Jeremiah 16:14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that it shall be no more said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
So why saying the children of Israel again? What? People are not going to mind you. When we think of the Lord and his great deliverance, we think of the story of Exodus. Oh, wait, but the Lord led the Israelites out of Egypt.
It was one group of people delivered from another group of people.
Exactly.
When there were still other groups of people on earth.
Yep. Go ahead.
But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
Now the land of the north is going into what? America, aka America. So now the Lord is going to have another Exodus when he comes back. You said you were Christian. When Christ comes back to save his people, it's going to be another great Exodus. He's going to save them out of the land of the north. Why the land of the north? Because that's where the beacon of slavery was. Right there. And then he said also from the lands that I've driven the rest of them. Right? Now I'm going to go and show you that this is literally talking about only the children of Israel. So it's not about the color of your skin, because as you can see, I'm what you would call light skin. Right? It's about your actual bloodline. So I don't care if you look Asian. I don't care if you look white. I don't care if you look fufu black, like an African. I don't care if you look Russian. I don't care if you look Italian.
This is the beautiful thing about our people. Two so-called light-skinned people
can create a
brown-skinned baby,
just like
vice versa.
Just like two, mind you, it's proven. Just like two,
like that in our family.
Exactly like our family. Just like two in Africa right now. There was a story that was done 5 years ago. You can Google it yourself. 2 Africans, I'm talking chocolate Africans, created a blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby, and they even said that's not your baby. Nope, she came right out of my womb. And they went and did a DNA test, and it was literally the mother and father were 2 Africans, and the baby came out blonde hair, blue eyes. All people, mind you, because you
call it the Eve gene.
The Eve gene, right? The African mitochondria, right, is what they would say, right? Eve gene. So I also want to make this is why even, mind you, the so-called white man, when they say it's one drop of black, you're black. One drop of blood of it, you're black. This is why they have different names for everything. Did you know it's more than just one name? It's like mulatto. It's like 4 names.
Yeah.
And 1/4 black is something. 1/2 black is mulatto. 1/3 black is something else. It's like different names for everything, right? Why would they create those terms if that wasn't real? So now to show proof that the Lord is only dealing with his people, I'm going to go into Matthew 13 and starting at verse 24. And this is a parable, but please try to follow and I'll try to break it down, okay? And it says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. All right? So it's saying the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man who sowed nothing but good seeds into his field. That's the kingdom of heaven. A good field and good seeds, right? Verse 25. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. So while he slept, his enemy came and sowed different types of seeds. Seeds that weren't of the original fruit. Seeds that were contrary to the original fruit, right?
Because you got different grains that look alike.
You got different grains that look alike.
You know.
So while he slept, he went and sowed different seeds into it, right? And it says, verse 26, and it says, but when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So then when he came to harvest his land, he noticed, whoa, we got some of the fruit that came from these seeds are not of what? The same line or the same bloodline. Now mind you, I'm reason why I'm saying seed, because I want you to understand something. When he was talking about seed, they were talking about nation of people, the actual seed line. The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man who planted his seed line, a pure bloodline, into the kingdom of heaven. But then when he slept, his enemy came and sowed what? Tares, or those that were not part of the bloodline. I'm going to keep going. It's going to clean it up. And when he came and he cut, and when he with a blade to cut down to harvest, he noticed that, whoa, I got some that definitely not part of this original bloodline or nation. All right? Verse 27. And it says, so the servants of the householder came and said unto him, sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence why does it have tares? I thought you sowed all good seed. Why does it have any tares? And he said unto them, an enemy have done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we good and gather them up? But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. So he says, should we go and gather all the tares? He said, no, because I don't want you to mess up the good seed that's sowed among them. All right? Verse 29, but he says, verse 30. It says, let both grow together until the harvest. Now, mind you, I need you to listen. It says, let both of them grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I would say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Now, mind you, this is talking about people. So what the Lord basically said, until the right time, when the harvest is ripe, leave it the way it is. This is why among our nations, or that 12 tribe chart, you're going to have many that are not a part of that original seed. You're going to have many that look like the original seed, but they're not part of the original seed. So what the Lord is going to do is when the harvest is ripe, or when who you ignorantly call Jesus comes back to save his people, what is he going to do? He's going to gather his people from among the rest, the tares.
And then you're going to see the great.
And then Madre says, I'm going to bundle up the tares and throw them into what? The fire. Now, what fire is going to be burning at that time? The lake of fire.
It's going to be here in America.
It's going to be here, exactly.
As well as the destruction of the chariots all over the world.
Exactly. Right? Now, mind you, I'm going to go get the precept where the Lord tells the angels to go gather his people.
So, bruh, the thing. This cold, bro. This was a cold ass one.
You got Jeremiah 32:37. You got there's a couple of them. Joel. But I'm gonna grab the one in Jeremiah because I think that one just and this is the Lord gathering the wheat from the tares. And I'm going to find a KJV. It says, behold, I will gather them out of all countries whither I have driven them in mine anger, and in my fury, and in my great wrath. And I will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. What is this place? He says, I will set them into their, get that real quick. I will set them in their own lands. So the Lord is going to send the angels. He's going to come, Yahweh Shai, who you call Jesus, is going to come crack the sky. This is what I think Christians call the rapture, when he calls up his elect, or his into the heavens, right? Mine shall rise. What he's going to do is, as America's being destroyed by ICBM nuclear missiles, yes, this is also in the Bible, the Lord is going to crack the sky and come back and save his people out of these lands before it burns up and melt with fervent heat, which is also the lake of fire, right? He's also going to send a side mission to the other angels to go and gather his people from all the countries. I'll read it again. Gather all my people from the four corners. He says, behold, I will gather them out of all countries where I have driven them in my anger. Remember, the Lord says, I will send you into Egypt again, or slavery again, but this time on ships, because we broke his law, we broke his commandments. So he sent us into slavery all over the world. He pushed us all out. Be gone from me. It's like your child, you mad at your child, you put him a punishment. Get out my face. You love your child, but get out my face right now. This is the Lord. And right here, this is when the Lord's come back to redeem or save. It says, behold, I will gather them out of all countries whither I have driven them in mine anger, and in my fury, and in my great wrath. And I will bring them again unto this place. What is this place? Back to the kingdom of heaven, right? Back to their promised land, all right? Which the kingdom of heaven is going to be ushered and bestowed upon the earth. And it says, and I will cause them to dwell safely. Mind you, to be saved means to be safe. Who is he coming back to save? His people from what? Their enemies, so they can be what? Safe. All right, go ahead.
It's Isaiah 14, starting at 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel.
So the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. Jacob and Israel are synonymous with the 12 tribes, okay? Go ahead.
And set them in their own land.
And set them in their own land, right? Because right now, all the Israelites, you don't have your own land. Even if you want to call yourself Brazilian, you don't own that land, right? It's owned by your enemy. Puerto Rico is owned by your enemy. Haiti is owned by your enemy. Mind you, Haiti got the first one to get their independence, but they still pay tribute to who? France. And guess what? They're still getting bent over backwards.
Yeah,
they're getting tried on, bent over backwards.
You're not even a powerhouse in the world.
Think about it. All the so-called South American countries are rich in abundance in all the minerals, agriculture, and everything. You're rich in everything. Why are you a third world country?
You have no military.
Because you literally, it's not your land. It's not, you don't own it. Because if you own it, you would have sovereignty. Yeah. They give you a name to make you feel like you have sovereignty, but you don't. Same thing with Dominican Republic. I've gone to the Dominican Republic maybe 15, 20 times already. Beautiful country. Beautiful country. They got chickens and goats and shit walking all over the place. Why are people poor? Because you don't own the land that you live on. You might claim a name to it, but you don't own anything. All right? So this is why the Lord is coming back mighty to save. Who is he coming back to save? And who is he saving you from? Your enemies. Right? And you don't believe you have enemies? Psalms 83. I'll get that too. Whenever you grab it. Oh, you finish that? Come on in?
No. It says, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house
Shalom,
of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
And that's, I'm pretty sure that's tough for a lot of people to hear, right?
Shalom, Arya.
Shalom, Arya.
Brothers, out of commission, man, flu and shit.
Yeah. Come on down. I was down last week, bro. I had the flu. I was, bro, when I tell you it was bad, I'm talking about I had one of the craziest headaches, and it lasted 24 hours. I was having cold sweats. You know them super sick Johns. Like, I couldn't get out of bed. I think Kamal got the bug now. The other two, we could talk about that another time, brother. Pretty sure you already know. But yeah, grab that Psalms 83. And to prove to you, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, everything we're saying is true. You also need to understand that you do have enemies. How do you know where you're going if you don't know who you are? And how can you defend yourself if you don't even know who your enemies are? And this is who you ignorantly call Jesus is coming back to save you from. Your enemies, right? And this is the enemies of the Lord. Mind you, because the enemies of Israel is the enemies of the Lord.
Yep.
Right? Because we hate what the Lord hates.
Yep.
We love what the Lord loves. Right? And vice versa. The Lord loves our people, so we love our people. The Lord hates a certain group of people, so guess what? We ain't gonna hate that certain group of people. The Lord
It's
tells
for
us
a reason too.
There's a reason for everything. The Lord tells us not to eat pork. That is an abomination unto you. Who am I to tell the Heavenly Father? But why? Bro, he told you. But then go ahead. Process elimination. Look up the dirtiest animal on the planet. How many toxins and parasites and everything are in per capita of the damn pig? Right? There's a reason for everything. But go ahead. Psalms 83.
Psalms 83, and I'll start at 2. It says, "For lo, thy enemies make a tumult,
So
and
it says,
they that hate thee have
it says,
lifted up the
for
head."
lo, thy enemies make a tumult. Right? Thy enemies, your enemies. For lo, you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, your enemies make a tumult. Now, tumult basically means like an uproar. It's like an uproar. They're like, they're making an uproar, okay? A big commotion. Go ahead.
It says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones."
So they've taken crafty counsel. Now, what is crafty counsel? Basically making a plan behind your back.
A very well
Sought out, planned it out. Yo, we're going to plan it out. We're going to plan it out for the next 100 years. We're going to plan it out for the next 30 years. Step by step, this is how we're going to get them. Right? So they came together and it's like, yo, we got to come up with a plan to deal with the nation of Israel. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and all those of Negro descent that are scattered to the four winds or the four corners of the earth. Go ahead.
Verse 4, they have said, "Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance."
So right there, it says, lo, let us cut them off from being a nation. So you want to know why the 12 tribes chart is the way it is? Because we got to give indication to our people. Yo, this is more than likely where you hail from. You were an Israelite, and we need you to see this written on a sign so you can visually see it. Because you could tell somebody...
It's literature.
It's literature, right? You could tell somebody that, oh, yo, you're an Israelite. But when you write it down on paper and they can read it, process it, they go, oh. So we letting you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans know that you're Israelites and that you have an enemy, right? And that your enemy has said, let us cut them off from being what? A nation, right? And that the name is no longer in remembrance. So this is why you don't call yourself an Israelite now. This is why you call yourself Puerto Rican or black or colored or Asiatic black man or Dominican or Mexican and all these other names that weren't given to you. They were given to you by your enemies, not by your own doing, right? Puerto Rico means what? Rich port, right? Haiti is a Greek word for hell. The Dominican Republic, I believe the word Dominican or Domino or something like that. It's like a Latin root word for like loyal dog. What? So you the people of loyal dogs? Make it make sense. Brazil is named after the Brazil wood. So I'm Brazilian. So is you a bunch of people of wood. Is what you telling me? Understand the names that you're calling yourself after.
We are Yasha Allah.
We are Yasha Allah.
Which means prince to the power, man. That's what Israel means. All right, but Israel in the Hebrew is Yasha Allah, all right, which means Prince of God, if you will.
Yep.
All right, Yashar going into Prince, Allah going into power.
So for you Israelites, you are either a prince of the Most High or you are a princess. For you daughters, you are princesses, right? You're princesses. We didn't have queens. We had princesses. Okay, go ahead.
It says, for verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent.
So they came together in one consent. Go ahead.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against you, meaning they are at war against you.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom. Now, mind you, these names that they're reading off are the names that the Lord gave these people. So don't kill the messenger. But the tabernacles of Edom. Edom goes into Esau. Who was Esau or Edomites on the earth today? So-called white people. They are Edomites. So the Lord's letting you know, mind you, now process elimination. You Latinos, y'all getting rammed in right now by what? The so-called white man. You so-called blacks and Native Americans, right? Y'all basically, they almost committed genocide with y'all. Who did it? So-called white man. Blacks, so-called blacks. Who put y'all in slavery? Who has y'all in the slums? Who's doing all these things to you? The so-called white man. So you can sit here and say, oh, I don't have no enemies. The Lord's telling you, yo, these are your enemies. And then By their works, they show you that they're your enemies. Wake up. Go ahead.
It says the Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites are the Arabs. We just got them talking about the Arab slave trade, where some say that the Arab slave trade was worse than the chattel slavery in Americas because they were castrating and doing all types of atrocities, right? Some say that that one is either right above it or just with it, right? Now, mind you, all of our brothers and sisters that want to convert to Islam, right? Go ahead over to one of these Arab countries and walk up in there and talk about you in Islam. They look at you like you imposter. They ain't letting you marry their daughters, you men. They not about to give their daughters to you. They don't care how big your dowry is. They like, oh, whoa, whoa.
I've witnessed it firsthand.
You're not one of us.
For a long time.
Salaki.
When I used to work at the airport, right, in a rental car spot, I used to have repeat clientele used to come in. And on the Ishmaelites, right, the Arab, they used to be from like Kuwait, they used to be from like Qatar, because they used to get their driver's license and shit, right? So they would come here on like some type of like medical disability or some shit, and they would get government funding to be here. And they would use the money that they get from the government funding to rent cars. And they would rent like Tahoes and Suburbans, and they would always give like $100, $200 tips. Like I had a whole little system. I was making bread. But they used to come, and they used to come in, they said their wives and stuff. And I had an Ishmaelite coworker, Muslim garbed up she was from Egypt. She called herself Egyptian, but she was an Ishmaelite. She was like her family was from somewhere out there.
Yeah.
And then I also had a Jake woman who was also Muslim, garbed up, and she used to sit over here. And when they used to come in, she used to say to them, the Jake John, Assalamu
So the so-called black John.
And Assalamu alaikum, whatever. And then they used to just be like,
They wasn't never to her.
But then when they would see the Ishmaelite, Assalamu alaikum, you know what I mean? They would show her respect because they're like, that's my people. That's your true religion. But when they see you Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans following after Islam, they're like, yo, why y'all in my customs and culture, bro?
Exactly. And mind you, Ishmael knows who you really are. That's another thing. You gotta say something. Ishmael has always been jealous of Jacob.
Always.
Why? Because you're the seed of the promise. You're the seed of the
share
promise.
the same forefather.
But they're technically the bastard son. If we want to be
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the Lord said, because you are of thy seed, I'm still going to bless you. That's why they got so much money.
But they're blessed on earth.
They're blessed on earth.
We're not blessed in the world to come.
Exactly.
In the kingdom. It was the
Exactly.
promises.
So we just give him perspective. So the so-called white man hates your guts. He came together with the so-called Arab man, and they came together to cut you off from being a people, cut your language off, your customs, your culture. You were literally, your name was not in remembrance, right?
But there's more.
But there's more. Go ahead.
Of Moab.
Moab is the so-called Chinese, and all up through there, because China. You understand something? China, Korea. The only difference between Koreans are basically Japanese and Chinese mixed in with a little bit of Russian as well.
Vietnamese
And Vietnamese, all of that, in there.
They're all very
They all, I mean, but Moab is the so-called Chinese, and I'm using them as in general. Go ahead.
And the Hagarenes.
Hagarenes are Africans.
Gabal.
Another Africans. Mind you, Africa is the largest continent with the most nations. So understand there's going to be a lot of Africans on this list.
And they were also our number 2 enemy.
Number 2 enemy, because we were warring with them.
We were at war with them longer than anybody.
Yeah.
And Ammon
was so-called Japanese, right? Remember, Moab and Ammon are incest babies, right? From Lot. Their forefathers, Lot. Go ahead.
It says, and Amalek,
the Amalekites, right? The Amalekites are what you call so-called Jewish people today, right? They'll admittedly say, I'm Ashkenazi. I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. I'm from Amalek. Amalekites, right? To this day, they still call themselves after these names.
House of Esau.
The chief house of Esau. Slaki.
Hello, Dollar General customers. We hope you're having a great day. If you or anyone you know is interested in joining the Dollar General family, please see a Dollar General associate today or apply at www.dollargeneral.com/.
swear we Muslim, bro.
So we just had an Arab. Actually, just said, I don't know how to say it. Assalamu alaikum. You know?
It says, It says in the Philistines, they're with the inhabitants of Tyre,
Also more Africans.
Ashur also is joined with them. They have Hopen the children of Lot, Salah.
All right. So these are, so mind you, every nation under the sun, right? So the Lord created 18 nations on the planet. The Israelites make up one nation. All other 17 nations had a hand in your downfall, or had a hand in using, or had a hand in usury. You either help build up their culture, build up their nations. We did it all.
Because you have like 18 families, if you will, right?
Yep.
These are like the head families of the earth. But through those families, you have subsidiary family or branch families.
Branch families, yep.
So, like, for example...
But it still comes from the same
They're still
bloodline.
from the same family. So, for example, you have the Israelites, right? The children of Israel, Yasha'Allah. You have 12 tribes. So, and even amongst the 12 tribes, you still even have subsidiaries of that. You know, you had Israelites that were called themselves like what was one? What was it? If you just read through like Kings and like Joshua and Samuel, it goes into how you have Israelites that have a tribe, but they were also a part of like certain little families. I'm trying to think of one in particular. Not like Hittites, right? Or Hittites? Was it Hittites?
Well, yeah, because remember, because when you read through like when we were reading what's that? No, it wasn't Solomon. Kings.
Kings, yeah.
It was Kings. It was going into, they were calling different people from different lands. Like they were all Israelites,
yeah.
But because they were from a certain town in Israel,
Yep.
right?
It was like small towns.
It was like small towns. They would call them the I don't know. I don't want to chop it up, but let's just say like I live in Longcrest, so
Longcrestians.
they call me a Longcrestian. He's an Israelite from Longcrestian.
Of the tribe of
The
Judah.
Longcrestianites.
Yeah.
The Longcrestianites doesn't mean that he wasn't an Israelite. It's just saying where did he dwell from.
So you see that even in Psalms 83, you see a lot of families that are of subsidiaries. All right, you see that a lot.
I wanted to get the Psalms 49:11. It says, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names." So the reason why I brought that out is because to give you understanding that the Lord created 18 families on the earth and named them the way he wanted to name them. But as time went on, people started naming the names of their lands what they wanted. That's why you have different dynasties like China. I'm Chinese. Because why? Because they named their land China. So because they live in that land, they're called Chinese. But they're Moabites living in what they call now China, to give it a better understanding.
Right? They do that even in America.
Yeah.
Like you're American.
I'm a Texan.
You're a Texan.
I'm a Philadelphian.
I'm a Philadelphian or a Pennsylvanian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm from LA.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's to give you understanding.
Then even in LA, yeah, but I'm from Crenshaw.
I'm from Crenshaw. Or like New York, the 5 boroughs. Where you from? From the Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Manhattan. They talk like that. And based off of where you say you're from, they're like, oh, you ain't really, oh, you from, you from Long Island. You ain't from New York.
Yeah,
You ain't from New York. You ain't one of us. You see how
Yep. There's nothing new under the sun.
nothing new under the sun. It's the same thing, man. You know? But our people literally are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And if you don't want to embrace this kind of knowledge, especially at the times that we're living in, then guess what? You're going to be caught up in that judgment. I have to grab that. The cup shall pass through. And this, remember, we were talking about that judgment that's coming, right? All nations are going to get are going to be able to drink that cup of judgment, that cup of slavery, right? And we're going to prove it. But for the head enemy, the one who rules this earth now, the Edomites, the so-called white man, don't kill the messenger. Don't be mad at me for telling you what it says in the Bible. It is what it is, right? Guess what? They're going to have to drink the dredges of that judgment.
You want that one specifically? Because there's a couple that kind of go.
I want to get to how the nations are going to drink the cup shall pass through. What you want?
Well, I got Lamentations. That's another.
I mean, you get them both, man. We on topic.
All right, Lamentations 4:21, and I'll get the one of Revelation. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz.
No, this is the head enemy, right? Right? It's the head enemy. Edom, Esau, Edomites, right? The land of Edom, the land of where these people dwell, right? This is the Lord speaking to them directly. Go ahead.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away to captivity.
Oh, right here. So this is how we know that cup is talking about judgment and slavery. Right? Start over. I'm going to break it real quick.
Yeah. It says, rejoice and be glad. You want me to start from the top?
Yeah. It's good.
Oh, daughter of Edom.
Oh, daughter of Edom. Oh, people of Edomites. Listen to this. Listen clearly. Go ahead.
That dwelleth in the land of Uz.
The dwell in the land of Uz.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee.
So the cup shall pass through to you. You going to get this cup too. Right?
You passed it around.
You pass it around. Well, guess what?
It's
That
coming
cup.
back.
That you going to have to have.
But guess what? You imagine having a cup of juice, and then it's like 15 people. Everybody will take drinks on. Everybody take a sip.
But every time people putting their lips on it and everything.
It's, what they call it,
backwash.
Backwash, right? Because naturally saliva is gonna go back into it. When that cup get all the way back around to you, it's gonna be saliva filled, germ filled. It's gonna be a little bit.
It's gonna be the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst. But go ahead.
It says, "Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked."
Huh?
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished.
The punishment of thy sins is accomplished, meaning it's done. For who?
O daughter of Zion.
O daughter of Zion. Who is Zion? Zion is Yasharallah, Israelites. The Israelites are now mind you, this is how we know it's slavery, because what was the Lord say? What was the Deuteronomy 28:68? The greatest of all of our curses was, I'm going to send you into slavery on ships because you have moved me to anger, and this is my wrath.
That's how you
this
know
is the cup that you will drink from.
That's how you know it's one of the worst slavery, the worst curses, because the Most High said, you know what, it's so bad that I'm going to take you completely away from your homeland and your people, and I'm going to take you to a land far away to where there is no running back.
Yep, there's no running back. You ain't going to run back. You're going to get
no
away
escape.
where you run into. You'll cross the waters now.
Yep.
What?
Says, he will no more carry thee into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins.
See, so look, he's not the captivity of the Israelites is done. But now, guess who has to pay for their sins? Who's going to get that? Who's going to get that cup passed to them? Edom. And what is that? What is those sins? The curses are going to fall upon the heathen. So all the curses that was on us is going to be on them. And then what else are they going to get? They're going to get that cup of slavery. All right. This is something that you need to understand. This is the truth of it, right? Matter of fact, get that. It's a slam dunk it. He who leadeth into captivity must go into captivity. Oh, and then we can end it off with. I know you brought it out already, but I'll grab the where we will possess them in the land of the Lord.
Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Say he who leadeth into captivity. So remember, we told you all other 17 nations had a hand in our slavery, and all other nations had us in slavery at some point, whether we were paying tribute to them or it was hardcore slavery. All other nations, not just the so-called white man, not just the Arabs, all other nations. And if they didn't have us in slavery, directly, they had us in it indirectly because they benefited off of our slavery in some way, whether via the Silk Road, merchant ships, cheap labor, lower cost. It doesn't matter.
You might have bought slaves.
You might have bought slaves. Or you might have bought products that was produced by slaves. Yeah. You at a cheaper price because it was free labor. Yeah. Guess what? You had a hand in it. All right. Go ahead.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Right? So he who leadeth in captivity must go into captivity. He who kills with the sword, whoever makes war, and who creates all the wars on the earth right now. Who's always in war? The so-called white man. It's always in war. Almost every war on the planet right now. What's going on over in the Middle East? Who controls that war? Right? Right? What they would call what? What they call them? They call themselves Jewish, but they are what? Amalekites. They're from the chief house of Esau. They're still Edomites, right? Who creates all the wars? So guess what? He who killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. This is the faith and the patience of the saints. Who are the saints according to the Bible? The Israelites. So we're waiting for who you ignorantly call Jesus to crack the sky, come back, wage war with the earth, save us from our enemies, and then allow us to put our enemies into slavery. Let that cup pass it through. And to prove it, the brother going to end with this, to prove it.
This is Isaiah, back in Isaiah 14, 1 and 2. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel.
So the Lord is going to always choose his people. Period. 12 tribes, the Israelites. Yasharallah, go ahead.
And set them in their own land.
So he's coming back to put us back into our own land. Go ahead.
And the strangers shall be joined with them.
And the strangers shall be joined. So who are the strangers? If you're not an Israelite, what are you? A stranger.
You're an alien.
You're an alien. You're a foreigner. You're not part of our bloodline. Go ahead.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
And they're going to cleave to the house of Jacob. That means they're going to take hold. They're going to be like, oh, I'm trying to stay with y'all. I want to follow wherever y'all go. That's where I want to go. Go ahead.
You're going to say, okay, but here's the kicker.
Here's the kicker.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place.
So, and then what? The Israelites shall take these people and bring them to their place. What place is it talking about? Because remember, the Lord said he's going to bring us to our own land. So we're going to bring them to our land. Go ahead.
And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
So it says the house of Israel, so the bloodline of Israel shall possess them, right? Possess them as a possession to have them as servants and handmaids. What is that? That is slavery, right? In the land of the Lord. What's the land of the Lord?
It's going to be levels to slavery too.
Yeah.
Because you have again, like that's why I think this is why the Most High made a distinction between the two. It's going to go into it. I'm going to read it. It says, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were.
And they shall take them captives whose captives they were. And mind you, in the land of the Lord. What is the land of the Lord? The kingdom of heaven. What is who you can call Jesus coming to do? To what? Wage war and to establish the kingdom of heaven on earth. I'm pretty sure you Christians know the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, that will be done in earth or on earth as it is in heaven. Right?
It's going to be levels to it in the kingdom. You're going to have Esau, Edom, who's going to get they're going to be the captives.
They're going to be the true chattel slavery.
Yep.
Everybody going to get it.
But you're going to have people like Moab and Ammon. They're going to be more like handmaids and maids and shit.
So that the head shall become the tail, and the tail shall become the head. They are going to be the lowborns. They're going to be the ones that people are going to hissing at. They're going to be the ones with the bywords. Oh, you an Edomite? Oh, you straight Edom. You know how they call us niggas fixing wetbacks?
Mines and fields.
They're going to be working in the mines and fields. They're going to be doing all that. Why? Because they were the ones who headed the destruction of the what? Of the children of Israel.
You're going to have Ishmael not far behind Esau.
Not far behind. And then the Africans.
And then Africans not far behind them. And then you're going to have countries like Moab and Ammon. They're going to be like your... They're going to be like
my wash pot. Moab, it should be my wash pot.
Yep.
My wash pot. Right? What is that? That means they're going to be servants. They're probably going to be in the houses cooking, cleaning, you know what I mean? Baking, keeping things up. You know what I mean? Right? But all the hard labor going to probably be on Esau, Edom, keeping it 100. Ishmael, and this you're definitely going to have to get it.
Yep. And
Ham.
Yep.
Top 3. They going to get it, man. Yep. What?
It says, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
And they shall rule over their oppressors. Right? Right? The scripture, scripture says, I was sending over them a cruel Lord. Now, mind you, and mind you, you think it's not going to be, give unto them, matter of fact, get the one that says, give unto them double first. This precept actually reminds me of you, Ariel. Give unto them double.
Yo, I don't know what's up with this phone, bro. But like, the clicks don't be registering, man.
Oh, it's because there's a new update that I didn't update yet.
All right, this is Revelation 18:6. Reward her. Yeah, I just get the point. Reward her even as she rewarded you. Double unto her double.
So double unto her double. So reward her as she rewarded you. Now, mind you, reward does not necessarily mean it's a good thing. You're going to get, mind you, just like everybody's going to get judged for everything they've ever done, whether the reward is good or bad, right? So reward her as she rewarded you, but give unto her double. So we got, 400 plus years of slavery? They going to get, what's 400 plus years of slavery? Times it by 2. 1,000 years. Because technically, if you do the math, it's been about 500, not just 400. It's been about 500. So they're going to get double. Go ahead.
It says, given unto according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled, fill unto her double.
Yeah, so she's going to get double. Esau's going to get double the slavery, double the judgment, double the hardship, double. And guess what? It's righteous in the eyes of the Lord. As much as people don't want to hear it, I get it. A lot of you Christians, you sit here and you read the Bible, but you don't read the Bible, or you go to one of these churches and all they talk about
Love and peace and prosperity.
who you ignorantly call Jesus says eat the whole roll. I come in the volume of the book from front to back. We reading you precepts throughout the
Exodus
book.
3:15.
Exactly.
All right, Yahweh is a man of war. And Yahushua, does not Yahushua come in the image of his father?
Now,
Now,
mind you,
Yahushua coming back? He's not coming back to meet thee as a man. He's coming back in a warrior. Like
it literally says that the day of the Lord is darkness, is not light. He even out his own mouth says, think not that I come to send peace on earth, but I come to send a sword. Why is who you call Jesus coming back to send a sword? Why does it say the slain of the Lord shall be many? Whoa. He's coming back.
Who carries a sword? A man of war.
Exactly.
Come on,
Right?
man.
Now, mind you, it even says that he's going to send, what, get that, yeah, got it?
This is Isaiah 19:4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts.
Now, mind you, even though they said Egyptian, it's talking about the nations in whole. Because at this time when it was speaking, Egypt was the biggest nation on the planet. Now that there's many superpowers on the planet, it literally says that I'm going to give them over to a cruel Lord. Now, who's that cruel Lord? Al-Shadia, right? Who you ignorantly call Jesus, right? Yahushua is coming back to wage war with the earth. He's coming back to send his sword, and he's going to be cruel unto these people, because he's not coming back with peaches and cream. He's coming back with a sword, right? To literally consume the other nations, right? And then he literally said, then Yahushua, who you call Jesus, literally says this. He says, all those that don't want me to rule over them, bring them before my feet and slay them in front of me.
Yeah.
Yes, the same Jesus that you sit here and go is the same one who's saying, look, I'm coming back to get busy. And why? What is the point of Yahushua, who you even call Jesus? To save his people, who are what? The Israelites. AKA you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, that 12 tribe chart, and those who are scattered to the four corners of the earth, looking like different nations and speaking in different tongues. The Lord is going to redeem who must be redeemed, and the rest, like I brought it out, the tares are going to be what? Gathered together and thrown into what? The fire. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Bahara Kakodash. The lines to the elders and apostles, and shalom to the elect. Shalom to all you brothers and future